Nvidia stock is up more than 200 this year. They just raised their guidance for next quarter. Their CEO, Jensen Huang, is a modern-day Steve Jobs, and the entire company is firing on all cylinders. In this high-growth environment, one company has taken the entire tech world by storm, and it's called Nvidia. But there's a problem. This company is now so big that if you look at the valuation, it looks quite expensive. In this video, we're going to try and figure out whether Nvidia stock is still worth buying, or if it's too late. Let's dive in. What makes Nvidia so special? It all starts with what they do. Simply put, Nvidia makes graphics cards for computers, and these graphics cards are incredibly powerful. If you play games or use design software like AutoCAD, you probably know Nvidia. But recently, they've gone through a revolution of their own. You see, until a couple years ago, Nvidia was just another semiconductor company, kind of boring, but definitely not a bad investment. But everything changed when the world unlocked artificial intelligence. Overnight, Nvidia turned from an okay stock to a once-in-a-generation opportunity. And today, they dominate this space. Most of Nvidia's revenue comes from selling these chips to data centers. These hyperscale data centers use Nvidia GPUs to train models for things like ChatGPT, self-driving cars, and image recognition. Basically, if you need lots of computing power for machine learning, you buy Nvidia GPUs. And because of this, Nvidia is now a powerhouse in the AI revolution. Because of how big Nvidia has gotten, there are a lot of questions about their future growth. For example, Bloomberg just reported that Nvidia raised their targets for next quarter. But even with this good news, some investors are worried. Some people think that maybe Nvidia stock is getting too expensive. So the question is it worth buying Nvidia stock today? Well, before we talk about whether it's too late to buy Nvidia, I want to share a personal story. When I was first starting out as an investor, I made so many mistakes. I bought stocks that were too volatile. I fell for the hype of cryptocurrencies, and most of my investments were in companies that didn't have a competitive advantage. And because of this, my portfolio didn't make very much money. But that all changed when I discovered a different way of investing. What if instead of trying to pick individual stocks, I could invest in the entire stock market without having to worry about picking the right stocks? And that's exactly what I did. And since then, my returns have skyrocketed. Now let's get back to our video. So the real question is, can Nvidia keep growing, or are they already too big? Well, to answer this question, we can look at something called the 5 C's of growth. This is a framework that helps us analyze the future growth potential of a company. And the first C is customers. Nvidia has a wide economic moat, which means that they have a very strong position in the marketplace. They have a dominant position in AI, which gives them pricing power over their customers. In fact, Nvidia actually raised their prices this year and their customers didn't care. They also have a ton of cash, which gives them the ability to acquire other companies and expand their product line. All of this means that Nvidia is in a great position to keep growing. Another important aspect of growth is the industry itself. Is the industry that Nvidia operates in growing or shrinking? Well, in this case, the answer is clearly growing. AI is one of the hottest fields in technology today, and Nvidia dominates this space. Not only that, but AI is also becoming more important in everyday life. As AI gets better and better, more and more people and businesses will want to use it. This means that Nvidia is perfectly positioned to benefit from the growth of AI. But what about competition? Is there anyone that can challenge Nvidia, or are they just too big to fail? Well, in this case, Nvidia does have some competition, but it's not really any real competition. Companies like AMD and Intel are trying to enter the AI market, but they are simply too late. Nvidia already dominates this market, and it would take years for these competitors to catch up. So overall, Nvidia checks all the boxes for a great growth stock. Dominant position, strong financials, growing industry, and little competition. With all of this in mind, it's clear that Nvidia is not overvalued. Yes, their stock price may be high, but they are a true leader in the AI revolution, and they have the potential to keep growing for many years to come. So, what should you do? Well, if you haven't already, it's not too late to start investing in Nvidia. And if you want to learn more about the 5 C's of growth, make sure to check out the resources. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, happy investing.